He was telling his people, too, on the phone that he got problems with his head. He got severe headaches and shit. Police didn't get no about that shit. When they say he of an overdose. So I guess he was doing. But on the autopsy, they found out he had a tumor on his brain. You know, he was locked up for about 6 years. He probably had that shit in his head for about 6 years.
They said he overdosed, but his mom said that on DJU, his mom said that he fell out the bed and supposed to hit his head. That's what the police told him.
For the record, my son did not die of a drug overdose.
Let's start there.
Yeah. He was just mishandled in there.
The wrong way.
And, you know. Yeah, I had to find that on Facebook. They didn't call me or nothing. I got my son a second autopsy and, you know, it wasn't a drug overdose.
Hey, yo, squad, what's the drill? Back with another video, man. You know the effects of the drill scene stretch further than just the rap game and the streets. Oftentimes, these rappers and street soldiers find themselves behind bars for decades, still having to rep and deal with the repercussions of the life that they chose to live on the outside. While it's true that once you lock down, people forget about you, when you had a name in the streets and a bit of internet clout, you don't go completely forgotten. But it just so happens that the only news that reaches the outside is the bad news. Macadoo 600's passing is the latest bit of bad news that has reached past those steel gates. Mr. Macadoo had a strong rep in the streets, and he was currently locked up on a serious case that could have had him behind bars long enough to live 2 lifetimes. Being found deceased in his cell, and his mother and family believed that there was foul play involved on behalf of Cook County. But just who was Macadoo 600? Was he as wild as the rep suggests? What really happened to him behind those walls? We're gonna find out. So without further ado, let's skip the play and get down to business. According to the internet, Macadoo was born in 1995 and came out of the south side of Chicago. He grew up with a story that is all too familiar but no less tragic and saddening. As his name would suggest, bruh was a BD roller with them 600 boys, and he grew up close with King Von, L.A. Capone, and even Durkio from a young age. Macadoo found himself entangled in the gritty realities of street life, where his everyday companions were just the most notable rappers in the scene as well as the alleged hitters. Naturally, he was down with the same lifestyle that his homies were, and a lot came with that.
On Steve, cause it's in there, back on Steve is gonna get my back. You gotta drop. That's my 20 on Lily. This is a brand new 20, bro. You want shit in my yeah. Come on, man. You just picked up the 10. Come on, bro.
The least of which was love. In actuality, love didn't seem to really live in Chicago on a deep level. Some of the most love-deprived people in the community was, is, and always will be the youth. Surrounded by a lack of love and resources and hope, war became all they ever knew. Many believe Mac really made a turn for the worse when he first got hit up himself in the face.
Man, my favorite memory when Mac was right before he got shot before, you feel me? Mac got shot before he got shot in his face. I believe it was the same day that Lil Steve, I think he was with Lil Steve, man, and they was on the block, man. And
according to reports on September 19, 2011, Macadoo would get popped on the same day that Lil Steve from 600 lost his life on 60th and Prairie. For many years, people believed that it was Scrap and Moochie from MOB who did it. To this day, it's believed that Macadoo was undoubtedly one of the wildest members in 600.
Team 600 is a fierce set that were allied with Team 300 from O Block, but both groups are from 2 different areas. Macadoo was one, if not the top shooter from Team 600. His name stood for Macadooya, and he never hesitated to shoot.
He's allegedly been on hits with King Von and HK, and it's also rumored that he went with HK on the Kobe and Brick hit, allegedly.
Around the internet.
That ain't no rumor.
About Brick. Oh, without no rumor.
But they opened this case back up.
So they did?
Yeah, the cold case people picked it up. And I'm working on that now. I can't wait to, one of the suspects that they were going to charge wind up dying.
So that is true?
Yeah, they was trying to say that McAville had.
During that time, 2 suspects hopped out the whip, and one targeting Brick and the other engaging in a struggle with Cole. Ultimately, Cole was shot in the face and lost his life on the spot, while Brick attempted to escape but was fatally wounded while trying to jump a fence. Suspicion lingers that somebody may have been lying in wait on the other side of the gate, adding a sinister twist to the whole tragic event. We'll never truly know what went down, though. Some would say Macadoo's bond with HK grew stronger in 2017, thus turning into a tag team of terror on the block. However, nobody is bulletproof, and HK lost his life during an attempted robbery. Although some initially suspected Macadoo of betraying HK, it was later revealed that HK's demise resulted from a fight that ensued during an attempted robbery. Nevertheless, Macadoo faced blame from Old Block residents and HK's family, who believed that he could have prevented the incident and he left Brother Meaty's demise after he got popped. Macadoo's life was a constant whirlwind of trouble and incarceration. As a teenager, he was no stranger to the juvenile system, always on the run, but everything changed on that fateful day. June 28, 2017, when two innocent women allegedly lost their lives at the hands of Macadoo and his homie Lil Scud. Juliet Washington and Janine Dowell, aka Nana and White Girl, were allegedly taken out. It's reported that they pulled up in a sedan behind Washington's vehicle at 10:30 p.m. at Wabash Avenue and Garfield Boulevard in Chicago. Sampson and Brown then allegedly approached Washington's vehicle with straps. Prosecutors added that Sampson fired at Washington, who was a mother of two, 14 times. Brown took the firing at Dowell, who was a mother of three, 8 times. Further, the DNA was recovered from one of the doors of Washington's vehicle and it matched both Brown and Sampson. Video footage also implicated the two suspects. Prosecutors also revealed during a court hearing that Macadoo made 15 calls to a person who faced aggravated battery charges against one of the gun Dowell. The person Sampson made calls to was ultimately convicted as well. The motive behind the drill still remains unknown, but there may have been rumors that the two ladies were talking to them people and possibly may have contributed to one of the homies being set up at gunpoint in the past. After that hit, it also is believed that on September 26, 2017, Macadoo and HK would head over east to look for TB, who was supposedly from Taekwon World. Allegedly, when they spotted TB, they both hopped out and hit TB over 20 times in the head, face, and body, leaving TB in extremely critical condition, and TB later passed away at Northwestern Memorial Hospital. TB's demise was viewed as get back for HK's brother and Mac's close friend, T-Roy, who TB allegedly assassinated. Unfortunately for Macadoo, on January 9, 2018, Bro would be arrested for Nana and White Girl's demise, where he could serve the next 5 years behind bars awaiting trial. That would end up being all the time he was able to serve, not because he was set free, but because on September 29, 2023, Macadoo will be found deceased, suspiciously in jail. At first, an overdose was believed to be the cause. It was thought by many that Macadoo was doing illegal substances to cope with the pressure and headache of having to deal with all the decisions he had made crashing down on him all at once. However, his family in a recent autopsy have also mentioned the alarming fact that while Mac was locked up, he had a brain tumor the whole time.
According to reports that dropped in the newspaper, Macadoo had a brain tumor, a tumor on his brain. He was telling his people too on the phone that he got problems with his head. He got severe headaches and shit. Police didn't get no about that shit. They sent his ass right back to his cell.
His family would say that he would complain about extreme headaches every single time that he was on the phone. There was also a story that he had fell off the top bunk while he was asleep and hit his head, and that blunt force damage could have been what ended his life. But it just doesn't seem plausible. Granted, the tumor was there, but falling off the top bunk isn't as common as most might think. This is what has been feeding the rumors that Mac was either taken out by fellow inmates or the correctional officers in the jail. Macadoo's mother recently did an interview where she confirms that the overdose story was false.
But for the record, my son did not die of overdose.
Let's start there.
Yeah. He was just mishandled in there.
The wrong way.
And, you know. Yeah, I had to find out on Facebook. They didn't call me or nothing. So.
You found out he passed away via Facebook?
Yeah.
Cook County Jail is infamous for its negligence. They have made the news plenty of times for the simple fact that dozens of inmates have lost their lives behind the gates with no legit explanation. So the wild reality is we may never really know what happened to Mac, and his alleged families will never get the real closure they deserve. Just pure tragedy all across the board, if you ask me. Macadoo never really made a name for himself as a rapper, but according to folks from Chicago, bro was really from the streets and really about that life. The street fame serves its purpose when you in the street, but when you are in jail or trying to make a better life for you and yours, it really holds no weight, and that's a sad reality. In fact, the street fame hurts in the long run when you get caught up with the law and or lose your life. You know why? because it forces people and potential supporters not to sympathize with your plight because they feel like you brought that upon yourself, your own demise. And as the saying goes, you live by the gun, you die by the gun. Unfortunately, many people don't even bother to ask, where did the gun come from in the first place? Macadoo 600 serves to be another Chicago youngin' that was dealt a bad hand and ultimately succumbed to the effects of the life and the karma that was accrued. A tragedy all the way around for him, his family, and the alleged victims of his actions. No wins here, man, at all. The only thing we can learn from this whole story is that in order to make it out here the right way, you gotta stay smart, stay alert, and stay real. I'm out, y'all.